Hey friends, Paloma here and welcome to my library wall. Today I'm coming at you with another huge book haul. If you missed the last one, then you probably don't know that I find ways to buy books affordably because I want to read them. Very simply put. And I want to load up my wall here with books that I actually enjoy or are really interested in to read next. The last book haul that we did was roughly an average of 70 cents per book, and today's math is pretty similar. $28.50 divided by 43 books makes it 66 cents a book, which means we actually beat out last haul's price, which is amazing. If you're not familiar with how I read, I am what I think they call an immersive reader. So I do look for audiobooks for the books that I purchase, because if I'm really into a book and I don't want to put it down and I want to go from point A to point B and listen to the book, I'm going to do that on audiobook. And I also enjoy grabbing my book and reading it. Depending on what I'm doing throughout the day, I can also listen to the book, but pick up the book and basically do like a read along and read with the audio. So whatever it is, I have to at some point make sure that I'm reading the pages myself, because if I do strictly audio, I've lost half the plot. I won't listen, I'm distracted, my brain's off in 700 different directions. But if I can flow with the chapters and listen while I'm doing something that's not too long and I don't get distracted on thoughts and creativity or whatever, then I will stick to the plot. But either way, at some point I have to be reading the pages to retain the information. So that is why I enjoy the actual reading part of the book. With these books that I purchased, I also try to find audiobooks to go along with them, which I do on the Libby app. I am registered to Broward County, I am registered to Houston Public Library, and I am registered to my local library in the area so that I can get audio files through those libraries with the library cards. And they have a great selection of audio files and actual books. So if you find anything interesting here and your library does not have an audio file, it will probably have the actual book file. So you can also just check the book out and read the book. Let's go ahead and get started because this is going to be a long one. There are more books than the last haul, so we will move very quick through each one of these. I might kind of shorten the excerpts a little bit, so let's get started. I have Dollar Tree that we're going to start off with first, and I'm kind of going to go smallest to largest here, and I'm going to go paperback and then hardcover. For the first paperback, we have Anna Harrington's A Problem Princess, and to be honest, I was sold by the cover because it's all green. I was sold by her fancy dress, and I was sold by the title. Problem Princess, like, isn't that all of us? I feel like that's all of us. Even though we can be nice and sweet, we're also temperamental and a problem. I know I am, and I'm proud of it. But this is what it looks like. Very, very pretty cover. It has a few books in this series, I guess. The retail price on this book was $8.99. I paid $1.25 at Dollar Tree. A princess should never befriend trouble. General Clayton Elliott, Home Office Undersecretary and new Viscount, gets suspicious when London is too quiet. Everyone says that Scepter, the anarchist group that's been fighting, died along with its leader, but his instincts say otherwise. Then he meets Her Serene Highness, Princess Cordelia of Monrovia. Resigned to doing her duty for her country, she is in London to make a match with the royal duke, and as a royal princess, she has no say in which duke she'll marry. But when she is shockingly attacked, Clayton becomes her bodyguard. Oh, she's gonna fall in love with her bodyguard, guys. Is there a connection between Scepter and whoever apparently wants the princess dead? The more Clayton and Cordelia spend evading their enemies and pursuing their individual missions, the more they realize they can depend only on each other. I thought that was cute, okay? I mean, everything about it is just hitting adorable, so I'm excited for that one. The only thing is that this one does not have an audiobook, but I'm okay with that. Next, we have The Personal Assistant, and this one does have an audiobook. It retailed $17.99. It's The Personal Assistant by Kimberly Bell. Looks like this. When Alex first begins posting unscripted family moments and motivational messages online, she had no intention of becoming an influencer. Overnight, it seems she'd amused a huge following, and her hobby became a full-time job, one she couldn't manage without her sharp-as-a-tack personal assistant, AC. But all the goodwill of her followers turns toxic when one controversial post goes viral in the worst possible way. Very sign of the times. Alex reaches out to AC for damage control, but her assistant has gone silent. The young woman Alex trusted with all of her secrets, who had access to her personal information, had a front row seat to the pressure points in her marriage and family life, is now missing, and the police are looking for Alex and her husband for answers. As Alex digs into AC's identity and a woman is found dead and murdered, she'll learn that the greatest threat isn't online, but in her own living room. Sounds good. So there's that one. And this one does have an audiobook. Next, we have Such a Pretty Smile. And this one also has an audiobook on Libby. This one is by Christy Demeester. And the retail on this one was $18. It says, I gotta read this way because when I look that way, it feels weird. He's known as the Cur, and he leaves no trace except for the victims he viciously slays every 15 years. Young women who refuse to conform and don't know when to shut up. 2019, 13-year-old Leela Sawyer has secrets she can't share with anyone, but when young women around her begin dying, wild speculation ensues. Soon, Leela feels haunted from within, terrorized by a delicious devil that shows her how to find her voice until she's in danger for using it. 2004, Caroline Sawyer sees dogs everywhere that no one else seems to notice. As these snarling, teeth-bared delusions begin to take shape in the sculptures she makes in a trance-like state, her fiancé is convinced she needs help from a professional, but Caroline's past is a darker cellar filled with repressed memories and lurking horror that others around her can't understand. The past and present demons converge. Caroline and Leela must chase the source of this unrelenting power to its core, either to obliterate it or lose themselves forever. Brilliantly paced and unapologetically fierce, Such a Pretty Smile will make you want to stand up and rage at everyone who ever told you to shut up and smile pretty. So there's that one. I thought that looked interesting, so I got that. Next, we have In the Afterlife. There is no audiobook for this one, but the really cool thing is that I got the first one at Dollar Tree as well, which is right here. This one I think I showed in just a regular Dollar Tree haul or on my Instagram, but I got both books and I'm pretty excited about that. So this one is In the Afterlife by Alexandra Bracken. It says book 3 in the New York Times best-selling series. Here we go. So the one that we have already is number 4. So this one's number 3, that one's number 4. This one does not have an audiobook. It says Ruby can't look back. Fractured by an unbearable loss, she and the kids who survived the government's attack on Los Angeles travel north to regroup. Only Ruby can keep her highly dangerous prisoner in check, but with Clancy Gray, there is no guarantee you're fully in control. Everything comes with a price. When the Children's League disbands, Ruby rises up as a leader and forms an unlikely alliance with Liam's brother, Cole, who has a volatile secret of his own. There are still thousands of other PSI kids suffering in government rehabilitation camps all over the country. Freeing them, revealing the government's unspeakable abuses in the process, is the mission Ruby claimed since her own escape from Thurmond, the worst camp in the country. But not everyone is supportive of the plan. Ruby and Cole craft to free the camps. As tensions rise, competing ideals threaten the mission to uncover the cause of IAAN, Ian, the disease that killed most of America's children and left Ruby and the others with powers the government will kill to keep contained. With the fate of a generation in their hands, there is no room for error. One wrong move could be the spark that sets the world on fire. For some reason, this is triggering Sweet Tooth from Netflix. I don't know why, even though this has nothing to do with like animal children, but I feel like it's giving me Sweet Tooth vibes with like the kids in camps and they're trying to kill the animal kids or something like that. Anyway, it's just reminded me of that. This one did retail for $10.99 and I'm happy I got that. Next we have It Started with a Dog. Now okay, so I'm not a huge fan of like animal stories or like movies where people are brought together by their pets, but for some reason this did kind of trigger with me a little bit because we lost Onyx not that long ago. And I feel like the backstory that we have with Onyx, it's pretty funny because I could swear that dog was mine first. And then the hubby found him after my dog ran away and we couldn't find him. My hubby found him and he was the same age, same size. And then when we met, I was looking at Onyx one day and I was like, that's my dog. And he's like, what? I lived in somewhat the general area where he worked and found this dog. So I could put money on the fact that Onyx was my dog first. Anyway, so I got it started with the dog. This one does have an audiobook, which I will probably rely on to get through it because I'm not into like floof unless it's like super cute and it like really gets me. But this one says it's by Julia London. Now, I don't know if that's what it is. I don't know if it's fluffy, you know, like floofy love. But if it is, great, you know, something to put you in a good mood. But all Harper Thompson wants for Christmas is the huge promotion she's worked so hard for, which she could get as long as her launch of a hip new coffee house, Deja Brew, get it? Deja Brew, like deja vu, goes according to plan. Jonah Rogers is trying to save his family's coffee shop, the Lucky Star, from going out of business, which will be tough with the brand new Deja Brew opening across the street. Oh my gosh, is this really gonna be like competing businesses and they like fall in love? Okay, so I'm a sucker for Hallmark and I feel like this might be kind of like springtime Hallmark vibes, so I might be okay with it. When Jonah and Harper meet for the first time after accidentally swapping phones, their chemistry is electric as a strand of Christmas lights. Oh, what did I knew it. It's giving me the vibes. I can feel it. He's a tall, handsome, compassionate hunk of an engineer, and she's an entrepreneur whose zest for life is very sexy. The love of all the same things, like scary movies, greasy food, and most of all, dogs. It's a match made in heaven until Jonah finds out that Harper's the one about to put him out of business. Oh my gosh. Only one coffee shop is likely to survive, and a competition of one-upmanship ensues in a battle of the brews. The paws really come out when the local rescue shelter has a fundraiser where the local businesses foster dogs and patrons vote with their dollars for their favorite pup. Harper takes in an adorable old bulldog on behalf of Deja Brew, while Jonah fosters a perky three-legged Dachshund for the Lucky Star. As the excitement builds for who will be crowned King Mutt and King of the Coffee Hill, Harper and Jonah must decide if their connection was all steam or if they are the perfect blend. That actually sounds really cute. So I might like that one. I knew it had Christmas vibes, like, you know, like that sucker love story. Yeah, it had that going on for me. Next, we have If I Disappear. This one also has an audiobook on Libby. This one is by Eliza Jane Brazier. It says more twists and fake outs than an episode of Serial by Rolling Stone. I was intrigued by this cover. I thought it looked really cool. And this was originally $17 retail. This one says this twisted and, oh no, that's not. When her favorite true crime podcast host goes missing and adrift, young woman sets out to investigate and plunges headfirst into the wild backcountry of Northern California and her own dangerous obsession. Sarah loves true crime podcasts. They give her a sense of control in a world where women just like her disappear daily. Who doesn't like true crime? Like when I wasn't purchasing books for a hot minute, true crime consumed my brain like all day, every day. I have to listen to something. Otherwise, I'll have 900 conversations and 3,000 ideas, and then it's all just chaos in there. And so whenever I want to calm my brain down, I listen to things, and true crime was just a vibe. So yeah. She's sure they are preparing her for something. So when Rachel, her favorite podcast host, goes missing, Sarah knows it's time to act. Rachel has always taught her to trust her instincts. Absolutely. You know, in all of these true crime situations, when there's like one chick who has an itch, like something is awry, they are always right. Like Shanann Watson, her best friend Nicole, like she was set on the fact that something was not right. Her friend would not miss her appointment the next morning. She wouldn't have left the house without the car seat for the kids. Her favorite shoes were sitting by the door. Like her friend knew what was going down. And if you got an itch, follow it, man. To begin her search, Sarah follows the clues hidden in the episodes to an isolated ranch outside Rachel's small town. She's convinced her investigation will make Rachel so proud. But the more Sarah digs into the unfamiliar world, the more off things start to feel, because Rachel's not the first woman to vanish from the ranch, and she won't be the last. Rachel did try to warn her. What? You won't guess where this one's going. Wouldn't it be funny if Rachel, wouldn't it be funny if Rachel was doing like a Gone Girl situation, like faked her own disappearance? Anyway, so there's that. That one is I'm pretty sure that one's gonna hold my attention. Then we have Thrillville USA. This one, it does have an audiobook as well on Libby. This one retailed for $16.99. We got it for $1.25. It says an amusement park employee overdoses after eating the gel of a fentanyl patch. What? Wow. It doesn't take much if you didn't know. Two homeless men discover the body of a drowned person. A woman encounters a dangerous stranger while driving her brother to rehab. Ex-lovers seek to rekindle their relationship with an aid of an earthquake. In the 9 masterful stories that comprise Thrillville USA, debut author Taylor Kokek depicts American living on the margins of society, seeking escape from isolation and underemployment and drugs, booze, and self-destructive relationships, while action is set largely in the rural Pacific Northwest. The characters' malaise and disaffectedness are emblematic of the country as a whole. Yes, haunting as these stories are, they are not hopeless. Generously written, they share a transcendental quality, acknowledgement of, and appreciation for the beauty in all things, even most profane and grotesque. So I assume there's several stories in here, like several short stories in here, which is probably going to be pretty fun because there's a lot of stuff out there in the world that is pretty dark, and sometimes you can find the light. So I am excited for that. Next, we have the Ingenue. It got my attention, just the cover alone. Like, how pretty is that? That is so pretty. And it is by Rachel Capelk Dale. I don't know how to pronounce that, but it retailed for $19, and it says, when former piano prodigy Saskia returns home to Milwaukee after her mother's sudden death, she expects to inherit the family estate, the Elf House. But with the discovery that her mother's will bequeathed the Elf House to a man with whom Saskia shares a complicated history, she is forced to re-examine her own past and the romantic relationship that changed the course of her life for answers. Can she find a way to claim her heritage while keeping her secrets buried, or will the fallout from digging too deep destroy her? Set against a post-Me Too landscape, the Ingenue delves into mother-daughter relationships, the expectations of talent, stories we tell ourselves, and what happens when the things that once made you special are taken from you. Moving between Saskia's childhood and the present day, this dark contemporary fairy tale pulses with desire, longing, and uncertainty as it builds to its spectacular, shocking climax. It says, People's Best New Book, Dark Tale of Revenge. So yeah, there's that one for $1.25. I thought that looked really good, and it's a great size book. Now we're gonna move on into the hardcovers. So far, there's only 2 that did not have audiobooks, which is fantastic. If it has an audiobook, then you don't have to go and buy the book, or if you don't find it at Dollar Tree and you really want to read it, you can find the audio version online, or you can actually look up the book version and read the actual book version, which is why I read the excerpts from the books. The first one we have in hardcover is The Three of Us, and this one does have an audiobook as well. And I like this one. I just like the book. I thought it was cute. It's a small book. It's a great little short story read. You can get through this fairly quickly if you just want like a good story. It says The Three of Us. What if your 2 favorite people hated each other with a passion? It's by Aura Obaje Williams, and adorable cover. It retailed for $26. It says the wife has it all, a big house in a nice neighborhood, a ride-or-die snarky best friend, Temmie, with whom to laugh about men, and a devoted husband who loves her above all else, even his distaste for Temmie. On a seemingly normal day, Temmie comes over to spend a lazy afternoon with the wife, drinking wine, eating snacks, and laughing caustically about the husband's shortcomings. I don't do that. I don't clown on my husband because, well, he's almost perfect, but I don't clown on my husband because I'm not trying to reduce who he is. I don't ever want him to question what I think about him, so I don't do that. But I'm okay with other people doing it because that's not my business. But when the husband comes home and a series of confessions are made, the wife's 2 confidants are suddenly forced to jockey for their positions, throwing everyone's integrity into question and their long drawn-out territorial dance carefully constructed over years into utter chaos. Oh my gosh. Told in a 3 taut, mesmerizing parts, the wife, the husband, the best friend, over the course of the day, the 3 of us in a submersively comical, widely astute, and painfully compulsive triptych of domestic life that explores cultural truths, what it means to defy them, and the fine line between compromise and betrayal when it comes to ourselves and the people we're meant to love. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I want to give that a nice little read. Super cute. Next, we have The Crooked Hearts. This one also is an audiobook on Libby. The cover just got my attention. Number one, we have like a brass bunny door knocker here. Like, that's adorable. And it's got a neon pink, kind of like light font. So cute. Anyway, this one retailed for $18.99. And this one says, secrets, lies, super bad choices, witchcraft. The suburbs right now. 17-year-old Ivy's summer break kicks off with an accident, a punishment, and a mystery. A stranger whose appearance in the middle of the road in the middle of the night heralds a string of increasingly unsettling events. As the days pass, Ivy grapples with eerie offerings, corroded memories, and a secret she's always known, that there's more to her mother than meets the eye. The city back then. Dana has always been perceptive, and the summer she turned 16, with the help of her best friend and an ambitious older girl, her gift blooms into a heady fling with the supernatural. As the trio's aspirations darken, they find themselves speeding towards a violent breaking point. Years after it began, Ivy and Dana's shared story will come down to a reckoning among daughter, mother, and the dark forces they never should have messed with. Y'all better watch out. So I got that one. That sounds exciting. Another one that got me just by the cover, I was like, oh, this is promising. This looks great. Is this one here? You know what? I haven't been looking at the actual covers, like the hard covers, but this one retailed for $28.99. This is The Connalies of County Down by Tracy Lang. This one does have an audiobook, and it says, when Tara Connolly is released from prison after serving 18 months on a drug charge, she knows rebuilding her life at 30 won't be easy. With no money, no prospects, she returns home to live with her siblings, who are both busy with their own problems. Her brother, a single dad, struggles with the ongoing effects of a brain injury he sustained years ago, and her sister's fragile facade of a calm order is cracking under the burden of big secrets. Life becomes even more complicated when the cop who put Tara in prison keeps showing up unannounced, leaving her to wonder what he wants from her now. They're probably going to get married. He's going to save her. While she works to build a new career and hold her family together, Tara finds a chance in love in the most unlikely place. But when the Connolly secrets start to unravel and threaten her future, they all must face their worst fears and come clean or risk losing each other forever. The Connalies of County Dawn is a moving novel about testing the bounds of love and loyalty. It explores the possibility of a beginning of our lives anew and reveals the pitfalls of shielding one another from bitter truth. How do I know? Because I married a police officer. I have a backstory too. All right, next we have Please Annon. And at first I was kind of put off. I was like, meh, I don't really care for this title, but then I opened it up. All right, so this one was $27.99 retail, or $28. And it says, when Cricket Lopez, assistant to one of the most notorious celebrity stylists, revamps her old-fashioned Instagram account on a drunken whim and turns into a source for celebrity gossip, she never thinks it will become anything. It's just a way to blow off some steam after a terrible day at work when her nightmarish boss screams at her and blames her for some 18-year-old influencer's screw-up. But when the account grows overnight, even wilder when she starts getting gossip from fans and insiders, juicy gossip, she has to face the facts. Her Instagram is now famous, and she is now famous. Though no one knows that she is behind the account, its newfound success quickly wreaks havoc on her life. Her boss wonders why she's disappearing on the job. Her friends are increasingly irritated by her dedication to the account, and celebrities, investors, and journalists are approaching her nonstop. But there's a steamy new love interest that she meets through her online persona, and she has no idea if she can truly trust his motives. As the account grows and becomes more and more influential, she has to wonder, is it all the fame, the insider access, the escape from real life, really worth losing everything she has? I don't know. We're gonna find out. So yeah, I got that one. And this one was a Target book. I took the sticker off of the front, which kind of pissed me off. There's a big old sticker right there, and I got it off and I just stuck it there to remind myself that it was a Target book. So this book was in Target for a hot minute. What does the cover look like? Cover is baby blue and black. So cute. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. for $1.25. And they do have an audiobook on Libby for that book. Next, we have The White Horse, which also has an audiobook. This one was also a Target book, and it also had the sticker on the frickin' front, which I had to take off carefully. Heavy metal, ripped jeans, Stephen King novels, and the occasional beer at the White Horse have defined urban Indian Carrie James' life so far. But when her cousin Debbie finds an old family bracelet that once belonged to Carrie's mother and inadvertently calls up both her mother's ghosts and a monstrous entity, and Carrie's willful ignorance about her past is no longer sustainable. Haunted by the visions of her mother and haunted by the mysterious creature, Carrie must find out what happened to her mother all those years ago. Her father, permanently disabled from a car crash, can't help her. Her aunt Squeaker, so funny, her auntie Squeaker seems to know something. Who, Squeaker? Oh no, that's from All Dogs Go to Heaven. He calls the little girl Squeaker. I hate that she died in real life. Her auntie Squeaker seems to know something, but isn't eager to give it all up at once. Debbie wants to help, but her controlling husband keeps getting in the way. Carrie's journey toward a truth long denied by both their family and law enforcement forces her to confront her dysfunctional relationships, thoughts about a friend she lost in childhood, and her desire for one thing she's wanted but could never have. What was it? Bro, love? Maybe. So yeah, there's that one. And this one also has an audiobook. Okay, so this one I got and I thought it was very interesting looking, very nice looking, a great quality book. So I picked it up even though it does not have an audiobook on Libby. This one retailed for $32. It is The Brightest Star by Gail Tsukiyami, and it says, America is falling in love with silent movies, including young Wu Lu Song, the daughter of Chinese immigrants who own a laundry. Wang Lu is bullied at school for her Chinese heritage. Lu retreats to the local Nickelodeons, buying tickets with her lunch money and tips saved from the laundry deliveries. By 16, Lu has already chosen a stage name, Anime. I see what you did there. And leaves high school to pursue her Hollywood dreams, defying her disapproving father and her Chinese traditional upbringing, a choice that will hold emotional and physical consequences. Anime gets her first break and her first taste of Hollywood fame, starring opposite Douglas Fairbanks. I'm sorry, it's hard to, I have a glare back here and you can see it's really shiny. I gotta move it. Where is it? The Thief of Baghdad, yet her beauty and talent aren't enough to overcome the racism that relegates her to supporting roles as a helpless exotic butterfly or vivacious murderous dragon lady, while Caucasian actresses in yellowface are given starring roles portraying Asian women. Though she suffers professionally and personally, Anime fights to win lead roles, financially support her family, and keep her illicit love affairs hidden. Even as she finds freedom and glittering stardom abroad, she receives glowing reviews across the globe. Now it says that it continues on back flap, but that's good enough. Anyway, this one does not have an audiobook, but I thought it sounded interesting, so I got that one. Next, I have another hardcover. This one does have an audiobook. It is Gone Tonight by Sarah Pekkanen. I thought this looked great. It says, this riveting, original, and powerful mother-daughter story kept me glued to the pages. Colleen Hoover. Controversial, but whatever. This one retailed for $29. And it says, 41-year-old Ruth Sterling is on the run from her past while trying to hold on to her future by protecting her 24-year-old daughter, Catherine. It has always been just the two of them against the world, but how well do they really know each other? And what made Ruth, a pregnant teenager all those years ago, run for her life? When Ruth's desperate quest to keep Catherine by her side reveals a crack in her carefully constructed world, both mother and daughter begin a dance of deception, one that begs to question, who does the darkness lie within? Propulsive, brilliantly layered, and a true shocker, Gone Tonight is an emotionally thrilling powerhouse of a novel about motherhood, young love, protection, and the violence that lies dormant in these least expected pages. So I found that very relatable, because I went through some stuff. So there's that. Next, we have the Vienna Writers Circle also has an audiobook. This is like, these are fantastic books. And this is why I don't have to read everything brand new, because you can still get amazing stories on a small budget. Build your library with books that you were able to read, and if you love them, hold on to them. If not, you're not feeling horrible about donating them or gifting them or passing them on to someone who might like them. Anyway, this one, the Vienna Writers Circle, belonging to it is a death sentence, J.C. Midas. It retailed for $28, and this is going to be hard to read, so forgive me if I make a lot of mistakes, but you'll see there's like this alphabet kind of grid on there, and it's like right with the letters, and it's glaring. Okay, so spring 1938 Cafe Mozart in the heart of Vienna is beloved by its clientele, including cousins Matthias Kramer and Johannes Namal. The two writers are close as brothers. They are also members of the Feud Circle, a unique group of the famed psychiatrist friends and acquaintances who once gathered regularly to the bright, airy cafe to talk about books and ideas over coffee and pastries. But the dark days are looming. With Hitler's annexation of Austria, Nazi edicts governing daily life become stricter and more punitive. Now Hitler has demanded that the hidden Jews of Vienna be tracked down, and the Feud Circle has been targeted. The SS aims to use old group photos to identify Jewish intellectuals and subversives. With the vice tightening around them, Matthias and Johannes' only option appears to be hiding in plain sight, using assumed names and identities to evade detection, aware that discovery would mean consignment to the camp or execution. So that looks like a good story. I really enjoy like the typed alphabet or the typed letters. It looks like typed, like an actual like typed document over the entire book, and it looks really cool, but it made it hard to read that little excerpt. But it's a great looking book, so I'm excited for that. And then we have 4 hardcovers left from Dollar Tree. The next one is Heather Morris, Sisters Under the Rising Sun. This one does have an audiobook as well. Now, I don't relate to sibling tropes because I am not close to my siblings. I'm just not. And one of them died, so it just is what it is. This one retailed for $30, but it says, in the midst of World War II, an English musician, North Chambers, places her 8-year-old daughter, Sally, on a ship leaving Singapore, desperate to keep her safe from the Japanese army as they move down through the Pacific. Nora remains to care for her husband and elderly parents, knowing she may never see her child again. Sister Nesta James, a Welsh-Australian nurse, has enlisted to tend to Allied troops, but as Singapore falls to the Japanese, she joins the terrified cargo of people, including the heartbroken. Nora crammed aboard the Vineyard Brook merchant ship. Only 2 days later, they are bombarded from the air off the coast of Indonesia, and in a matter of hours, the Vineyard Brook lies broken and seamed. After surviving a brutal 24 hours in the sea, Nesta and Nora reach the beaches of a remote island, only to be captured by the Japanese and held in one of their notorious POW camps. The camps are places of starvation and brutality, where disease runs rampant. Sisters in arms, Nora and Nesta fight side by side every day, helping whoever they can and discovering in themselves and each other extraordinary reserve for courage and resourcefulness and determination. So that sounds really good. Next, we have The Handler. This one also is an audiobook, and it retailed for $27. Look at how nice this is. This is by M.P. Woodward. So nice. It says, a single well-placed American asset has kept Iran's secret uranium-enriched program from hitting weapons grade. For the last decade, a mild-mannered Iranian physicist has enabled CIA to hack into software controlling Iran's gas centrifuge arrays. Now the saboteur has gone dark off-grid, and he has cut Langley's access until he gets what he wants. Spurred by a tragic accident, the mole has turned the tables, blackmailing his American spy masters. His one demand, an exfiltration by the only man at the CIA he has ever trusted, his former handler, John Dale. Without Dale, the asset will expose the hack. Too bad Dale wants nothing to do with CIA. He has barely shaken his rage at Langley, who had exiled him after an ISIS raid went sideways, challenging Dale's allegiance. His former bosses had even gone so far as to declare him persona non grata, stripping him of his pension and worse, his honor. But they need Dale back now. Fast Iranian counterintelligence is closing in, and CIA's last firewall against the nuclear terror state is about to crumble. Langley has one final card to play. Senior case officer Meredith Morris Dale, John's ex-wife, might be able to salvage their shattered bond just enough to recruit Dale for a final mission. An expert handler herself, she will need to use every trick in the book to get John back in the field. As Meredith and John struggle through their fraught relationship as craven CIA political hierarchy, Russian interference, and the rogue spy's manipulation, they must reach deep within their shared connection to maintain, recover, or terminate the asset. Goodness, that was a long one, but sounds like an adventure. It's giving me 24 vibes. Do you remember 24? Oh my gosh, I used to love 24. That was such a great show. The little ticker clock, oh my goodness, it used to get me every time. Next we have The Displacements by Bruce Holzinger. This one does have an audiobook on Libby, and it retailed for $27. You guys, look, these are brand new, beautiful books. It says, to all appearances, the Larson Hall family has everything. Healthy children, a stable marriage, a lucrative career for Brantley, and the means for Daphne to pursue her art full-time. Their deluxe new Miami life has clicked into place when Luna, the world's first Category 6 hurricane, overturns everything they have taken for granted. And Mother Nature can do that, man. When the storm makes landfall, it triggers a descent of another storm. Their home destroyed, 2 of their members missing, and their finances abruptly cut off. The family finds that everything they assumed about their lives is now for grabs. Swept into a mass rush of evacuees from across the American South, they are transported hundreds of miles to a FEMA mega shelter where their new community includes an insurance agent turned drug dealer, okay, a group of vulnerable children, and a dedicated relief worker trying to keep the peace. Will normal ever return? A suspenseful read plotted on a vast national tapestry, The Displacements thrillingly explores what happens when privilege is lost and the resilience is tested in a swiftly changed world. All right, so there is that. Oh my gosh, this stack is getting so big. The last Dollar Tree book we have in this haul is this big baby right here. OM gosh, how number one gorgeous is this book. It is so pretty. The cover is gorgeous. It's by Chuck Wendig, and it's called Wayward, a novel. This one retailed for $300. No, it retailed for $29.99. It says, 5 years ago, ordinary Americans fell under the grip of a strange new malady that caused them to sleepwalk across the country. They were followed on their quest by shepherds, friends and family who gave up everything to protect the wanderers. Their secret destination? Ouray, a small town in Colorado that would become one of the last outposts of civilization because the sleepwalking epidemic was only the first in a chain of events that led to the end of the world and the birth of a new one. That's kind of crazy. The survivors, sleepwalkers, and shepherds alike have dreams of rebuilding human society. Among them are Benji, the scientist struggling through grief to lead the town, Marcy, the former police officer who wants only to look after the people she loves, and Shanna, the teenage girl who became the first shepherd and an unlikely hero whose courage will be needed again. Good. This book is like, you get a workout reading this book if you gotta live. Don't drop this in the bed. Bye now. Okay, it says, because the people of Ouray are not the only survivors and the world they are building is fragile, the forces of cruelty and brutality are massing under the leadership of self-proclaimed President Edie Creel, and in the very heart of Ouray, the most powerful survivor of all is plotting its own vision for the new world, Black Swan, the AI who imagined the apocalypse. Against these threats, Benji, Marcy, Shayna, and the rest have only one hope, one another, because the only way to survive the end of the world is together. So that sounds really good. This is a huge book, so I am happy that this one is on Libby with an audiobook. So we are almost at an hour. I'm going to rush through the rest of these books. The next place where I got my books was Katie Christian Ministries, and these were 25 cents on sale. There are 14 books that I paid $3 and change for from Katie Christian Ministries. They were all 25 cents a piece. So I'm going to go through them fairly quickly. The first book is almost an antique, but it's close to 100 years old. This one was published in 1931. These pages are so browned and aged, but I do have a cabinet with old and antique books. So this one is going to be going in there. I thought that was a great little addition for 25 cents, as well as this one, The Secret Door to Success. This one was also 25 cents on sale in the store. What I liked about this one is that it says paper, $1.75, cloth, cover, $2.25. So it cost back then more than what I paid for it today. So this must have been a valuable book. Anyway, this one was published in 1941. So that one's gonna also go into my old cabinet. We have Only Ever Yours. This one does not have an audio book. This one retailed for $17. It got my attention because it says Irish Book Awards Newcomer of the Year. So I was pretty excited about that. Louise O'Neill, I love Irish culture, and I was totally interested in checking out this book. So it retailed for $17. It says, considered two of the most physically perfect students in the school, Frida and Isabel have been best friends their whole lives. Now 16 and in their final year of school, they have learned how to become the most beautiful girls they can possibly be. The two friends fully expect to be selected as companions, spouses to wealthy, powerful men. The alternative, to spend their lives as concubines or worse, chastities, is too horrible to even contemplate. But as the intensity of the final year takes hold, the pressure to remain perfect becomes unbearable. Isabel starts to self-destruct, putting her beauty, which she has spent her entire young life refining, in peril. Confused by beautiful Isabel's mysterious descent into self-destruction, Frida decides she must fight for her future, even if that means betraying the only friend, the only love she's ever known. And then the boys finally arrive at the school, prepared to seal each girl's fate as companion, concubine, or chastity. So, interesting. I picked that one up. That one does not have an audiobook. Next, we have Web of Air. This one does have an audiobook. This one was 25 cents, and I loved the cover on this. I thought it looked fantastic. It retailed for $18. Fever Crumb, now 16 and caring for orphans, Ruin and Fern, is a member of the Persimmons Electric Lyceum, a traveling barge theater. Even though Fever thinks plays are unreasonable and full of silly nonsense, she takes refuge in her work there. By using her superior knowledge of electricity technology from ancient times, she lights up the stage to the wonderment of audiences everywhere. After all that has happened to her in London, narrowly escaping death and coming to terms with her secret past, the relative boredom of her new life provides the respite she needs. When the Lyceum arrives at Maida, a faraway corner of the ruined world, Fever meets a handsome and brilliant boy named Arlo Thursday, who is perfecting the lost secrets of flight. It's a dangerous pursuit, one that can get a person killed. Even so, Fever gets swept up in Arlo's race to build the first flying machine. From every crevice, it seems powerful enemies stalk them, either to possess their revolutionary invention or to destroy the secret of flight forever, and with Fever and Arlo. And with it, Fever and Arlo. So yeah, 25 cents, not bad. That one does have an audiobook. Tiger Queen does have an audiobook. It is by Annie Sullivan. It says, Sand in her veins, blood on her sword, a kingdom in the balance. It looks like this. Great looking book. Retailed for $17.99, $18. In the desert kingdom of Accra, an ancient law forces 16-year-old Princess Katari to fight in the arena to prove her right to rule. For Katari, winning also means fulfilling a promise to her late mother that she would protect her people who are struggling through windstorms and drought. The situation is worsened by the gang of the Desert Boys that frequently raids the city wells, forcing the king to ration what little water is left. The punishment for stealing water is a choice between the two doors. Behind one lies freedom, behind the other is a tiger. But when Katari's final opponent is announced, she knows she cannot win. In desperation, she turns to the desert and the one person she never thought she'd side with. What Katari discovers twists her world and her heart upside down. Katari's future is now behind two doors, only she's not sure which holds the key to keeping her kingdom and which releases the tiger. So I thought that was pretty cool. Must be like a young adult series, but very cute. So I picked that one up for $0.25. And then I found this one as well. This cover got me. I thought it was beautiful. That nice raised gold large text, and then the girl in the water. This one is The Fury and the Terror by John Ferris. This one does not have an audiobook, but that's fine. It seems like a simple enough read. It's just under 380 pages. That's the same as, just like a regular series. So I figured that wouldn't be a hard read at all. This is The Fury and the Terror by John Ferris, and it retailed for $26. And it says, the United States is besieged by terrorists who are working from within the White House itself to overthrow the government. They have frightening weapons at their disposal, not the least of which are techniques of mind control undreamed of even a decade ago. Graduation day at the University of Carolina in Shasta, Eden Waring, star athlete, a valedictorian, is about to address fellow graduates and family members in the school stadium when she is overwhelmed by a terrible premonition. A DC-10, as yet unseen, is going to crash where they all have assembled. Eden's warning and subsequent actions have saved many lives and transformed her own life. Soon Eden is on the run, pursued by a powerful covert agency known as Morgue, by a lover whom she can no longer trust, and by the obsessed, tormented man married to Jillian Bolivar, the mother Eden never knew. Possessed by power Jillian did not have, powers that Eden has always represented, she is forced to realize her true psychic potential, that of an avatar. In order to save her own life and the lives of millions of Americans, she must track the complex plot from the rangeland of Montana to the Deep South and ultimately to the Oval Office. So, sounds interesting. Sounds kind of like a conspiratorial Final Destination. So, that sounds good for a quarter. Next, we have Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child Thunderhead. This one does have an audiobook as well on Libby. This one retailed for $26. Oh my gosh. It says, a civilization that thrived on 1,000 years ago and then mysteriously vanished, a people who built roads but did not have a wheel, who dotted the harsh landscape of the American Southwest with cliff dwellings, lighthouses, shrines, and planetariums that modern archaeologists still do not fully comprehend. This historic background for the new adventure story from the best-selling author of The Relic and Riptide, a novel adventure of revelation and human courage to put to the ultimate test. Thunderhead. Archaeologist Nora Kelly is adrift in her career and personal life when a violent, inexplicable incident leaves her in possession of a mysterious letter. Written by her father, who vanished 16 years ago in a remote desert, the letter reveals the location and legendary site hidden in the Red Rock Canyon country of southern Utah. Quivira and the Anasazi Indians' wondrous lost city of gold. Convinced that her father truly had found Quivira, Nora puts together an expedition and takes a team up to Lake Powell to the mouth of the Serpentine Canyon. In the stark labyrinth of canyons and slick rock deserts, she will find the answer to both her greatest hopes and her deepest nightmares. For hidden in the shadows and the sun-baked cliffs are untold stories, the solution to the greatest riddle of American archaeology, an implacable, suffocating death, from the colossal fury of savage desert storm to the sunlight-penetrating mass grave for the first time in 1,000 years. Continues. Thunderhead is a tale for anyone who has ever searched for clues of the past. And it continues more. Okay, so that one actually sounds very interesting if you like watching Ancient Aliens or some type of like archaeologist discovery kind of situation, then I'm pretty sure you'll like that. Next, we have paperbacks, and the first one is Crucible. This one does have an audiobook, and it looks fantastic. It retailed for $9.99. It is by James Rollins, and it looks like this. It says, arriving home on Christmas Eve, Commander Gray Pierce discovers his house ransacked, his pregnant lover missing, and his best friend's wife, Kat, unconscious on the kitchen floor. With no shred of evidence to follow, his one hope to find the woman he loves and his unborn child is Kat, the only witness to what happened. But the injured woman is in a semi-comatose state and cannot speak until a brilliant neurologist offers a radical approach to unlock her mind, long enough for Pierce to ask a few questions. What Pierce learns from Kat sets Sigma Force on a frantic quest for answering questions that are connected to mysteries reaching back to the Spanish Inquisition, to one of the most revealed and blood-soaked books in human history. Wow, so that sounds pretty cool, and it's a nice size read. Next, we have Demon Copperhead, and this one also has an audiobook. And this book just got me. I was like, wow, this thing looks really nice. It's a nice quality looking book, and I was intrigued. So this one retails for $21.99. It says, Demon Copperhead is the story of a boy born to a teenage single mother in a single wide trailer with no assets beyond his dead father's good looks and copper-colored hair, a cautistic wit, and a fierce talent for survival. In a plot that never pauses for a breath, relayed in his own unsparing voice, I guess it's Damon, braves the modern perils of a foster care, child labor, derelict schools, athletic success, addiction, disastrous loves, and crushing losses. Through it all, he reckons with his own invisibility in a popular culture where the superheroes have abandoned rural people in favor of cities. So that's that one. That one was only 25 cents. Next, we have The Girl in the Spider's Web by David, I don't want to butcher that last name. Looks like this. This one does have an audiobook as well, and it retailed for $16.95, 17 bucks. A genius hacker who has always been an outsider, a journalist with a penchant for danger. She is Lisbeth Salander, the girl with the dragon tattoo. One night, I'm just going to abbreviate, Bloom receives a call from a source who claims to have been given information vital to the United States by a young female hacker. Bloom, always on the lookout for a story, reaches out to Salander for help. She, as usual, has plans of her own. Together they are drawn into the ruthless underworld of spies, cyber criminals, and government operatives, some willing to kill to protect their secrets. So that's cool. I picked that one up. Next, we have Sugar and Salt by Susan Wiggs. This one does have an audiobook, and it retailed for $18.99. And I actually saw this one at Books A Million on clearance for like $7. It says, Jerome Sugar learned the art of baking in his grandmother's bakery, also called Sugar on historic Perdita Street in San Francisco. He supplies baked goods to the lost and found bookshop across the street. When the restaurant that shares his commercial kitchen loses its longtime tenant, a newcomer moves in, Margot, a barbecue master from Texas. Margot isn't exactly on the run, but she needs a fresh start. She's taken care of herself her whole life, pulling herself up by her fingernails to recover from trauma, and her dream has been to open a restaurant somewhere far, far from Texas. Excuse me. We love Texas. The shared kitchen with Jerome's Sugar Bakery is the perfect setup in a vibrant neighborhood popular with tourists and locals. Margot instantly takes Jerome's mother, the lively, opinionated Ilda, the older woman that becomes a good mentor, and Margot is drawn to Jerome. Despite their different backgrounds, their attraction is powerful, but just as she starts to relax into her happy new future, Margot's past in Texas comes back to haunt her. So there's that. Probably an ex-lover or something coming back and causing problems. Texans got a lot of pride. We'd be doing that. All right, next we have Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. This one does have an audiobook as well, and it's been turned into a movie, and I'm pretty sure it's known to a lot of people. But this one, it's kind of like a young adult book, has lots of pictures in it. It says, a mysterious island, an abandoned orphanage, a strange collection of peculiar photographs. It all waits to be discovered in Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, an unforgettable novel that mixes fiction and photography in a thrilling read experience. As our story opens, a horrific family tragedy sets 16-year-old Jacob journeying to a remote island off the coast of Wales, where he discovers the crumbling ruins of Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. As Jacob explores its decaying bedrooms and hallways, it becomes clear that Miss Peregrine's children were more than just peculiar. They may have been dangerous. They may have been quarantined on a deserted island for a good reason, and somehow, impossible though it seems, they may still be alive. 25 cents. Another one is Shades of Milk and Honey, and this one also has an audiobook, and it is by Mary Robinette Cowell. Shades of Milk and Honey is an intimate portrait of Jane Ellsworth, a woman ahead of her time in a world where the manipulation of glamour is considered an essential skill for a lady of quality. But despite the prevalence of magic in everyday life, other aspects of Dorchester society are not that different. The lives of Jane and her sister Melody still revolve around vying for attentions of eligible men. Jane resists this fate, and rightly so. While her skill with glamour is remarkable, it is her sister who is fair of face and therefore wins the lion's share of the attention. At the ripe old age of 28, Jane has resigned herself to be invisible forever. But when her family's honor is threatened, she finds that she must push her skills to the limit in order to set things right, and the process, she accidentally wanders into a love story in her own. So, sounds like a good little story. I don't want to say ugly duckling kind of situation, but apparently she's not the pretty sister, and she's gonna find someone anyway, because that doesn't matter. All right, this one is Jane Smiley, Horse Heaven. This one does not have an audio book, but I was intrigued. I just liked it. I liked the cover, and I liked what it's called. It says, okay, so Jane Smiley, Horse Heaven. It says, it's not true, says character Jane Smiley's funny, passionate, and brilliant novel, that anything can happen on the racetrack. But many astonishing, affecting things do. And in Horse Heaven, the universe of horse racing, passionate, cold-hearted, pure, corrupt, is woven into a marvelous tapestry of joy and love, folly, greed, and reckless courage. So I picked that one up. Alrighty, so we are just about done. All we have to look at now are the free books that I picked up from our local post office. I always stop in there, and I suggested in the last video, you talk to your post office, and if you don't have a bookshelf there where y'all can do book trades, then ask them if you can possibly donate one to the post office and find a little cubby or corner somewhere where you can have your own little donation library. Starting off, we have The Secret Keepers of Old Depot Grocery by Amanda Cox. Actually, I just picked this up because it has to do with old worldly grocery stores. And if you don't know, I have the Bates Family General downstairs, which is my personal care home pantry and supplies, and I have it in an old worldly general store vibe. I'll just read the first part. It says, present day, Sarah Ashby returns to her childhood home, determined to finally follow her dream of running the family's business alongside her mother and grandmother. So when her mother Rosemary announces to her that Old Depot Grocery is closing, Sarah and her grandmother Gloria Ann make a plan to save the store, but Rosemary has worked her entire life to make her daughter never follow in her footsteps. She has her reasons, but she'll certainly never reveal the real one. And then I found this one. This one does have an audiobook, and the cover got me. I actually really like that. There's like this translucent kind of flower on here. There's this girl with pink hair that I thought this was like a blood splotch. Anyway, this is The Grace Year by Kim Liggett, and it retailed for $17. It says, in Garner County, girls are told they have the power to lure grown men from their beds to drive women mad with jealousy. They believe their very skin emits a powerful aphrodisiac, that the potent essence of youth of a girl on the edge of womanhood. That's why they're banished for their 16th year, to release their magic into the wild so they can return purified and ready for marriage. Weird. Anyway, got that one. Next, we have Fight Right. This one actually has an audiobook, and if you are having problems communicating with your spouse, you can probably look into this. It is basically successful couples turn conflict into connection. And I agree. Whenever the hubby and I first got together, I was toxic and I wasn't very clear on my things that I want. And to be honest, I remember a few quotes. It's one, men aren't psychics. They can't read your mind. And God gave you a brain and a mouth, so you can think what you feel, or that way you know how to think about what you're feeling and you use your mouth to express it. Very simple. And so I stopped holding in what I was thinking or feeling or assuming, and I stopped getting mad whenever he didn't know what I was thinking. And I just started talking, and we talk about everything now, and it's great. We communicate. Sometimes I might just communicate too easily, and yeah, always just communicate things, and then it can be worked out. Next, we got Hugger Mugger. This one actually has an audiobook as well. It is by Robert Parker, and it says, it's easy to see why Parker's snappy banter and clinical eye have kept fans turning pages for 25 years. Spencer never seems to be in any real danger, but his wisecracks combined with Parker's shorthand flair for scathing characterization nevertheless make a satisfying read. Yada yada yada. When Spencer is approached by Walter Clive, president of 3 Philly stables, to find out who is threatening his horse, Hugger Mugger, he can hardly say no. He's been doing pro bono work for so long, his cupboards are just about bare. Disregarding the resentment of a local law enforcement, Spencer takes the case. Though Clive has hired a separate security firm, he wants someone with Spencer's experience to supervise the operation, and Spencer can't help being intrigued by Clive's daughter Penny, one of the 3 fillies who has an insider knowledge of the horse world, a deceptively charming air, and a great pair of legs herself. Okay. Anyway, pick that one up. And then we got some James Patterson books, which is just, you know, it's going to be a good read. All 3 of these actually have audiobooks. First one is Step on a Crack. This one is by James Patterson and Michael Ledwidge. Now, this one, all 3 have a signature inside, which is kind of cool. This one retailed for $28. And then we have a James Patterson Cross, also with the signature inside. And you can look these up on Libby. They have the book and the audiobook. You can read more on them because we're over an hour here. This one is Run for Your Life. And I am absolutely going to be adding these to my collection. Look at how beautiful these covers are. I love that. These 2, I picked them up today. I don't know if they have audiobooks, but we have The Watchmaker of Filigree Street. This one is an advanced reading copy. You can look it up and do some research into that, see if you're interested. And then we have An American Bullet, book 3 in the best-selling Witcher series. Spellbinding, one of our top 50 crime writers to watch. So you can check that one out as well, see if it has an audiobook. Okay, guys, now I am going to put all this fun stuff on my shelf, and I'm super excited to just see it fill in and then be able to dive into these stories. If you don't know, I am doing polls on Instagram to pick a book that I will be reviewing. I am reading 5 Dollar Tree books at a time. Not at a time, but I am reading 5 Dollar Tree books before I do a review on them. You guys get to vote on what I'm going to be reading and reviewing. So the ones from this haul are definitely going to be going into the next review series. That being said, the math again today for today's books was $28.50 spent on 43 books. And as you can see, they were fantastical, magical books. Even without the free find books, there were so many books in here with great storylines, very interesting, simple reads, complicated reads, short stories, long stories for 66 cents an average cost per book, which is amazing. So that being said, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below. Let me know what you like about these videos. If you enjoy the hauls, what kind of separate content do you want to see with the actual book related subject? If you have any friends that are trying to get into reading but can't afford $35, $45, $55 for a book, and you feel like they might get some information or just be interested in seeing how to buy books on a small budget, then share this video with them. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Also hit the notification bell on your way out to be notified of new videos whenever I post. I do thrifty things, I do book finds, I do Dollar Tree hauls, I do organization, craft stuff, canning, all kinds of random things because I am a random person. And if you like normal human beings like me, stick around. And you can follow me on my social media on Instagram at the Bates House, hashtag Bates House, pretty much anything, and I will be there. But for now, guys, that's it for this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.